Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back. Have you guys noticed that perhaps James Gunn is a little bit nervous? Maybe he feels like the DC universe he's trying to build is already falling apart. I would suggest it might even have already fallen apart, and there's really not much hope for future projects because everything that we have on the horizon doesn't sound like it's fit to entertain. And after all, that's what you're supposed to do in this business. Well, he's got this Batman idea that I don't think is going to land with anybody, and I think we need to talk about it. So here we go. Now, before we get started, just a real quick reminder, I'm trying to get to 50K. Now, I can only get there with your help, so double check you're still subscribed to the channel. Take a few moments to click down there and hit the thumbs up and the little bell, the notification bell. Turn all the notifications on, and I think you'll enjoy the dozens of pieces of content that I make every week, whether it's a live stream or a video, or even a short or a post in the community. I think you're really going to like what you see, and you're going to see an awful lot because you'll also get a schedule of some sort telling you where I'm going to be next on other people's channels where I do a lot of work. But let's start here. James Gunn might direct DCU's The Brave and the Bold. This is new information. Originally, this was supposed to have that new fella, Machete. Machete was supposed to get this, and he just recently announced who the writer was, and that's not been received in a positive way, which we'll get to in a moment. But Hot Mike's Jeff Snyder is hinting that James Gunn might actually direct The Brave and the Bold. Now, this version of Batman isn't very popular, and I don't know why we're headed down this direction. This would certainly be a major development, as Jeff points out, and it should be noted that Gunn has expressed a desire to direct a Batman movie of some kind. At least that was something he's talked about. Now, Andy Machete, as I said before, is the guy that's supposed to helm this particular project. But many have speculated that he may be on his way out the door. Why? Well, despite the fact that James Gunn himself, this knucklehead up here, thought that The Flash was the greatest superhero movie ever before it came out, it failed and flopped in a way that nobody thought was possible, except for people like me. But The Flash is toast, and therefore so may be Machete. Now, he's not done a lot of failures, but that one was epic, and it might have left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, so perhaps it's better to start fresh, and maybe Gunn thinks he's that fresh start. I don't know, but it's quite possible, and according to James Gunn's own past comments, he's never been a fan of the way Batman has been handled before. And that would include Tim Burton, Christopher Nolan's movies, so he just can't keep his mouth shut, much like Tarantino, who's basically telling everybody what he thinks about him. But wait, there's more, and from many other sources. Let's jump into the story. James Gunn says that the universe is rife with false Batman, Brave and the Bold information. Okay, that's not true. I mean, there has been, I imagine, some fake information out there, but he says there's a lot of stuff going around about his new Batman movie. I'm not sure I can agree with him, but he says he had to shut down a rumor mill once again, but this time with the coming Chapter 1 Batman movie, The Brave and the Bold. He says the universe is full of incorrect information on every level, and he did so on Threads, which is a great place to put misinformation. Gunn's comments was in response to a fan asking whether it was true that The Brave and the Bold will begin filming in 2027 if the script was finished, despite other reports that production was in 2028 or even 2029. And with that being the reaction to that particular claim and how he reacted, we can assume that nobody knows exactly anything, least of all possibly Gunn. Now, this is not the first time Gunn's had to come out and deny a lot of things or react to a lot of backlash. There is a reason to have backlash because the writer that he recently brought in, Christina Hodson, is, well, I would say not qualified to make good movies. She got lucky one time with Bumblebee, a film that many people liked, but a lot of people have said there was a lot of liberties taken on set that weren't included by the writer that made that film good. Everything else she's touched has been a complete craptasticness. DCU chief James Gunn defends Batman the Brave and the Bold screenwriter amid fan concern. This is the soft version of an article talking about the backlash. Cape Fear is a wonderful subheadline here, but of course we're going through IGN. So it's a little bit, softer approach to things. James Gunn has defended the Brave and the Bold screenwriter Christina Hodson amid fan concern following news she will write the DC Universe's Batman movie. And again, this is a writer who wrote a film that James Gunn claimed was the greatest superhero movie ever made, The Flash, which was slapdash garbage that somehow made it to screens. Last week, The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that Christina Hodson was writing The Brave and the Bold, which will be the first Batman movie in James Gunn and Peter Safran's rebooted DC universe. Hodson is best known for writing 2018's Transformers spinoff Bumblebee. As I said before, it was somewhat a success that could be slightly attributed to her, but maybe not. Birds of Prey, though, was also a massive failure, as was The Flash and some other projects that she's been attached to as well. That infamous Batgirl movie that got canceled before it was even released, yeah, that was her too, which says an awful lot. Now, the backlash has a number of components to it, and I will agree some of them are overreactions. But one is that The Flash itself in 2023, starring Ezra Miller, was a critical and commercial flop, pulling in just $271 million worldwide, and the film costing well more than that. And remember, the theaters get half of that money at the end of the day. So during the theatrical run, this film costs double what they were able to actually take home, which meant that the deal to get rid of Zack Snyder and the old DC universe was a pretty good one. It and the entire DCEU are now defunct, and I think we're all grateful for that. Gunn responded to one person on social media who said Hodson was getting unjust hatred, suggesting the Flash fans saw in theaters wasn't the Flash that Hodson outlined in her screenplay, saying, in quotes, "I will only say anyone maligning Christina Hodson's screenwriting skills has almost certainly never read an actual screenplay by Christina Hodson," firmly pointing the finger at all of the other creative people involved in the process, saying she was one of the writers who was with us early in DCU planning stages. But I don't really think that's saying positive things, because you brought in Tom King, who I think a lot of comic fans would say is a complete failure and kind of just a tool. But that's not all, because James Gunn tapping that failed The Flash writer, Birds of Prey writer, that particular lady for an unreleased Batgirl has definitely raised a lot of red flags with fans and critics alike. People like me who pay very close attention to the people that you work with, the people that are around you. Because the people that surround you, that you associate with most regularly, kind of give everybody a good outline for what you are as a person. And right now, I'm not thinking very kindly of James Gunn. Marvin writes that according to the Hollywood Reporter, which we've already referenced, Hodson has been tapped to write the new Batman for DC Studios, which is positioned as the cornerstone project for Gunn's new DCU. That alone makes his decision impossible to shrug off. Batman is not just another character, much in the same way Superman just isn't another character, and why the failure of Superman to land with any kind of profitability is concerning. I'll continue. He is the most important IP DC has, the foundation upon which any successful shared universe must be built. And Gunn has entrusted that foundation to a writer whose DC track record is, at best, deeply troubling. Now, Marvin really has a way with words, and I like to praise him here, as he says that the resale defined by DC's biggest missteps is basically the legacy of Miss Hodson. Hodson's DC resume is not a mixed bag, it's all bad. It's overwhelmingly associated with projects that failed commercially, critically, or both, or, of course, all of the above. She's not had a winner in Bumblebee, I still think, has zero to do with her screenplay. Of course, if you're going to say that a screenplay doesn't make a movie, then I don't know why you should be writing them. Because, yeah, if you remember, James Gunn's been writing some of the material that we have seen or will see in the future. She wrote The Flash, a film that was heavily marketed as a game-changing multiverse epic and instead became one of the most catastrophic box office flops in superhero history. Now, let's just back up and remind ourselves that she is keenly responsible for, in that screenplay, putting a baby in a microwave in the first few moments of the film. I don't think that in any way is good, and the way that she handled a meeting up of not just Batman and the Flash with Wonder Woman was also very cringy. I don't feel very good about this in the wokest possible way. And I mean that. This film is doomed. I'm not very excited about it. This is on a lower level of the ladder than even the Avengers Doomsday movie, which again, I also think may be doomed. So we're getting back to a point in time where the IPs that used to be the most relevant just aren't anymore. Whether you're Marvel or a DC fan, I want to hear from you. Do you think that The Brave and the Bold is going to turn things around? Do you think Christina Hodson's presence and her screenwriting is going to be a boost or a bane? Do you think that perhaps Gunn wanting to take over the director's seat is a sign of maybe good things to come or bad things to come? Your guess and thoughts are as good as mine, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. And as always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! But I'm not even going to watch Lanterns. Are you?